Hi my precious subbies, this is Shauna with Love Meets Cake, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make a new recipe I just experimented on: pecan pie ginger snap cookie cheesecake. I just made it last week and my customers absolutely love it. So first I just want to say that I'm making this in a 10-inch springform pan. If you plan on using like a 6-inch or an 8-inch pan, please cut this recipe in half. So everything I'm telling you is based on me making this in a 10-inch pan. So I'm using a ginger snap cookie crust. So I wanted to kick it up a notch and not go with the traditional graham cracker crust. I'm using a box and a half of ginger snap cookies. Put those in the food processor and I'm grinding those up. Next, I am taking 1 stick of butter, putting that in a microwave so it melts, and I'm going to mix that in with the ginger snap cookies. Now I'm going to spray my springform pan, pour in the cookie crust, and then I'm going to press that down nice and firmly so it's all packed in. And then I'm going to bake this for about 9 to 10 minutes on 350 degrees. Now while the crust is baking, I'm going to go ahead and prepare my cheesecake mixture. So I'm taking 8 packs of room temperature cream cheese and I'm beating that until smooth. Now I'm putting in 2 cups of white sugar, a dash of allspice, a splash of vanilla extract, and a splash of butter extract. So this is what's going to give the cheesecake a vanilla spice flavor to it. Beat everything together and then scrape your bowl just to make sure it's all incorporated properly. Once everything is smooth and mixed in, then I'm going to pour this into the springform pan. Now, by the way, I don't believe I mentioned this earlier. This is a no-bake recipe, and this is going to be really easy because you don't have to bake it. You're not going to be using any eggs, and I love no-bake cheesecake personally just because they are super creamy. Now, the cheesecake mixture is going to be in the refrigerator for several hours. While it's in the refrigerator, we're going to go ahead and start preparing our pecan topping. So what I'm doing is taking a cup of brown sugar, dark brown sugar, a stick of butter. This part here, guys, I'm cheating because I did not have heavy whipping cream, so I'm using some coffee creamer. I poured in 1 cup of coffee creamer, and honestly, the substitution worked. And then I'm using a half cup of light corn syrup and then a splash of vanilla extract. So now I'm going to take this over to the stove and I'm going to heat this up and stir this mixture. Now this mixture is very important that you don't walk away and just leave it, because this could easily burn. So what I'm doing is I'm having this on a low simmer and I'm constantly stirring it to make sure it does not burn. Next I'm pouring in about 4 cups roughly. I really just poured in the whole bag of pecans, but I think it's about 4 cups into the mixture, and then I'm going to bring this to a light simmer. Next, I poured in a bag of pecans, which equals to about maybe 4 cups roughly. And then what I'm still doing is keeping my little eyeballs on this pot so that it does not burn. So I'm still constantly stirring it until it comes to a simmer. it may take about 5 minutes or so that you're going through this stirring process. So next, I put this in the refrigerator. Do not pour this on top of the cheesecake. We have to cool it down before we do that. Now, also, you can just see how the liquid was still really thin at that point. It thickens up as it cools down. So now you can actually see on the spatula, look how thick that sauce actually thickened up too. So next, since it's cooled down, we're going to pour this on top of the cheesecake. Now, so far my cheesecake has been in the refrigerator maybe like an hour. Once the pecan mixture cools down, then the cheesecake can actually go back into the refrigerator for like an extra 7 hours. So in total, the cheesecake is going to be in the refrigerator for about 8 hours. You can also put this in the freezer for about 4 to 6 hours to speed up that setting process time. So next, it's been about 7 to 8 hours. I took it out the refrigerator and I am running my knife along the edges so we can release the cheesecake, and here we go. So now I'm cutting into it. Now first, what I want to say, again, this was my first time doing this. What I instantly realized is the pecans being whole like that made it really hard to cut. So what I ended up doing the next time I made this, I actually chopped my pecans a lot smaller and it made it a lot easier. But here we go for now. As you can see, look how delicious this looks. Now, I'm actually allergic to nuts, so I could not eat this initially. Like, my eyeballs loved looking at it, and the smell is like crazy good. It's like phenomenal. I ended up wanting to have someone come taste test it who is a fan of pecan pies, so I can get a good review as to how this turned out, and his name is Mo. Pecan pie cheesecake.
This is good.
Okay. So since I haven't had pecan pie before because I'm allergic to nuts, like how would you describe the pecan topping? Is it like caramelized? Is it sugary?
To be honest with you, it's not that sugary. It tastes good. It's caramelized.
Okay.
And honestly, this cheesecake isn't that heavy.
Yeah, okay.
And most pecan pies, and this is why I never ate them, because it was always rich.
That's what someone told me. Pecan pies are really sweet. Yeah.
This is a nice little blend you have here.
Yes.
So, kudos to you.
Thank you.
This is amazing. I would definitely buy one of these.
All right, thank you. So somebody said, I bet you that pecan pie cheesecake would be the bomb infused with some bourbon. So I experimented with a bourbon brown sugar topping. And again, I can't taste it, but I can imagine how phenomenal this is. Feel free to ask me to infuse yours. The bourbon version of the pecan pie cheesecake was so the bomb that I was invited on Straight Talk No Chaser to bring that onto their podcast and talk about it. And this is a picture of when I sold this as slices with my customers. I actually cut the pecans up a lot smaller, so I do recommend doing that. And then here are some reviews that some of them said like they loved it. And this recipe is just perfect for the holidays. And like I said, I actually have a nut allergy. I finally was able to make my own slice with no pecans. That ginger snap cookie crust changes lives, FYI. Also, in this video, I wore a shirt made by Raggedy Bears on Instagram.